My loves, my loves, my loves. It is so nice to be back. Happy spring, happy holidays for everyone who's celebrating. It has been a minute, so I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm going to put on some makeup, chat a little bit, and we'll see how this goes, because I have not done it in forever, and I don't think I was fantastic at it at the beginning before, so we'll see how it goes. But you have been missed. I'm already primed. It's been a minute and a lot has happened, so why don't we just start with some concealer. So I am now an East Coast babe. Not an East Coast baby. I'm originally an East Coast baby. I am now a West Coast baby. Yes. So I have moved to Southern California. And what a trek. What a trek it was. I drove from New York over here. And wowzers, that was quite an experience. It was really eye-opening. I've never traveled like that before, but it was amazing. I learned so much and learned a lot about myself. I mean, I've known for a while that I was ready to move out of New York. I'm born and raised in New York, and while I still have immense love for it, I knew that something was shifting in me and that I was ready for something different, I didn't really know exactly what that was. And, I wouldn't say that this is my final destination, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. Just one day, not one day, it was a process. I was just thinking about so many things in my life. The pandemic will do that to you. And just how I was living it, and how I wasn't living aligned with what I would want my life to be like. And always saying, someday, 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 someday. And you don't know if you have a someday, So it was time. It was time. And I started looking for new places to work. And I knew that was time. It's weird. This often happens to me. You're done with this space, and all that's left is your body. All that's left is your body to catch up. And my body was just waiting to catch up. So, I did the whole process, just looking for new places, interviewing, everything. And it was hard. Being very introverted, it was just my goodness. I have to keep talking and proving my value and just everything. And it was a lot on me. Also because when you stay where I was there for a very long time. And when you stay someplace for such a long time, it is, I'm not doing anything fantastic for my face, just regular stuff I've been doing. When you stay in a place, sometimes, at least for me, it's really hard to remember remember your value, remember your worth. That was really, really hard for me. I think also, because sometimes when you're in a space for so long, and depending on your position, I'm doing this straight through the camera, so if you see me like going in, that's what I'm doing. It makes it hard to feel valued. I think, unfortunately, with time, sometimes we all take each other for granted, and I have felt that way for quite some time, and also it just wasn't aligning with who I am as a person. I really wanted that to change because it was starting to like weigh me down, and I had enough on my plate. I've spoken in the past, like health issues and stuff. I just had enough on my plate where I couldn't, it was harder to be comfortable, than it would be to change, even though changing was very, very scary. But I think I had stayed in a space for so long where I didn't feel valued so much to the effect that I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't even valuing my skills. I had to really like talk through it with someone, to feel like what I did was worthwhile. And it took months to just even begin to feel that way. And I was like, wait a minute, I really do stuff. Like, why the hell am I walking around feeling like this? That doesn't make any sense, And so, like, I really needed help with that. But that was the start of really figuring out what my next stage in my life was going to look like. Well, I hope this makeup works out well, because I am not getting up to get a bigger mirror or anything. Listen, it took so much to have the energy to, like, I'm still getting back into a routine, and it is not easy. Not easy at all. It takes me a minute for stuff like that. But, yeah, it was really a process to like talk through like my value system, what's important to me, what am I good at, what am I proud of that I'm good at, because sometimes you're good at something, but it doesn't mean you want to be doing it, and you definitely don't want to be doing it as your livelihood, because what a drain on your spirit, So just thinking about all those things, I really had to remember what I was good at and what made me feel happy. And wowzers, wasn't that an ordeal? It's because I didn't know. I felt really insecure. And that's what I would definitely recommend. If you can afford it, please get a coach, because I most definitely needed that. And that's like, if you also can't afford it, it's horrible that we have to say, can you afford it? But also, if you're not already in therapy, please get there. It's fucked up that we have to say that, but that's unfortunately the society we live in. But yeah, I really needed that coach, like, and it's weird because it's like grains of sand, pebble, rock, boulder. Like, I got the coach beforehand because I just knew something wasn't making sense for me, I thought that I had it together. I knew I had the so-called willpower, the so-called stamina, the so-called all that stuff, until one day I didn't. And then it's like, I want to change in so many ways. I still want to change. I still want to grow. But you know, I don't have what I used to have, or it doesn't look the same way that it used to look. And now, what am I supposed to do? You know, it's wild. Life is wild, man. And the shit that you will take for granted, you don't even know you're taking it for granted, man, until it's gone. Wowzers. This is a little dark, but we will live. I think I need more with medium brown. I mean, what you gonna do? But yeah, that was really, really, really hard. Just realizing, like, all the shit that you used to do or be able to do, and now, like, you don't have the stamina for it, you know, and you don't see yourself the same. And so that, while all set up, that with, like, looking for a new place to be, as far as work, it was just very, very, very overwhelming. Very overwhelming. But I made it through, you know, and really, like, all that spirit stuff for me is so important, because I don't think I would have if I didn't, like, really try to stay grounded, really, you know, meditate, pray, you know, talk to my guides. I needed that, because I needed reassurance on a spiritual level that I was, even if any of this made sense, you know, because it's easy to stay with what you know. I one day saw a post for a position in Southern California, and something in me just clicked, and was just like, yeah, that's the thing, and I went with it. And I applied, and it just started everything for me, where I was like, okay, well, now I'm gonna commit to this. I'm gonna keep applying, see what happens, see what shakes up. I did not get that position, but it put into my mind that, like, why not Southern California? Why not? And then I started applying and really being open, and it was not easy in any capacity at first, because the shit some recruiters will say to you, man, they be trying you, man. It's not the move. It's not the move, and you have to, like, have someone to, like, consult with, and remember that what they're telling you isn't the full truth. And guess what? It wasn't. But just making you feel, I've always, you know, and no disrespect to anyone who's a recruiter out there, but I've always felt uncomfortable with that, because you can't win. You could have everything there. I don't know, maybe that's not true, but everything they're asking for, and yet you still feel like you're not good enough. Yeah, you're just in constant proving, and you didn't even get to the damn interview yet. And I actually stopped working with a recruiter, and that was my prayer, to get a job where I did not have to deal with recruiters, because I'm just incredibly introverted, and so, all right, now I have to talk to all these people and prove myself, just for the opportunity to talk to all these other people and prove myself. And I was just like, ugh, like, whew, is there another way? Could there just possibly be another way that doesn't look like this? You know? And it really didn't feel like there was for a while. But thank goodness I kept going. Because y'all, that shit was the worst. I hope this doesn't come out a mess. I really could have gotten a bigger mirror and just did this, but you know, sometimes you pick the path of least resistance, and I'm trying to say laziness. I just wanted to save my energy for this and y'all, and sometimes that little get up takes me out my space. So yeah, I applied. Oh my goodness, y'all. I seriously was probably applying, what, every day, maybe 10 to 20 jobs a day for months. And I mean, I will say what was beneficial, I was in a very, very privileged situation where I still had my job. And so, like, it wasn't like I'll die if I don't get it. And God, that's a gift. So don't get it twisted, because I know that was a gift. What are we doing here with these brows, Hasina? I don't think I love them, but I don't think I care enough to change them. So yeah, so applying, interviewing. Oh, the interview process. I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, the interview process was okay. There were only a few moments where, like, sometimes people, they can't help themselves. They have to be assholes. That's just how they function. It doesn't help that it's all during a pandemic. It doesn't help. But, I'm learning. So this is a thing, man. So, like, 40 was good. 40 was good. That second half of 40, like, something shifted in me. It's like, like I'm in the Matrix and I'm, like, finally, like, seeing everything. Like, you thought you saw it before, but now you're really seeing it. And you're like, oh, this is the part I play in this story, too. It's like, this is a story and this is the shit that's igging me, but this is the part I play in that story, too. And I haven't acknowledged it until now. Like, I internalize a lot. I am hyper aware when I'm, like, feeling balanced and having a good day. And then, like, now let's add if I'm having a bad day and I'm just trying to survive. Now my hyper awareness is on 1,000 trillion, and that shit is not healthy. It's not healthy one bit. Not healthy one bit. But yeah, like, so people being assholes, but, I'm internalizing that, like, this is why I'm not meant to have anything. This is why I'm not going to get to leave or be somewhere where I can be healthier. Because I knew also I needed to leave to just feel healthier. I didn't feel healthy anymore. Not everybody needs to leave, but for me, that definitely needed to happen. So yeah, so I kept applying, and then once I decided, I was like, I didn't have the job yet before I started considering the move. Once I had saw that I had applied for that place and then I didn't get it, I was like, oh, this is staying on the table. This is staying on the table. And I just started looking at places, and let me tell you, I had never ever been here before that time. But I was like, this feels like a vibe. This feels like a vibe. And why not? Why not? what could I like worst case scenario? I go back to New York. I know what New York is like. So I'm gonna tell you about this. This shit is too light for me. I thought it was the right color. It is not, but it is my perfect undertone. And so don't think I'm just tripping right now. There's method to my madness. It will all make sense in the end. And I actually never, I don't really wear foundation anymore. Maybe because I'm warm here, you know, unless I'm doing something fancy. But I got this in my little boxy charm. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. Let's see what this does. And it was cute. So, yeah, look how light it is. But when I finish, it's going to work itself out. I don't know why it works itself out. I don't know if it oxidizes yet or what it does. But when I put this on my face, I was like, no, this is like, this is not the move. But it works out. I don't know why. So, in today's discoveries of random colors. And I don't know, maybe it just works out because it matches my skin tone and then I use bronzer after. But, yeah. But yeah, I was like, and I like that it's so light. I don't know why this is becoming like a makeup tutorial, but I just tried it like a day ago and I was like, I like that shit. Yeah, so, yeah, you notice I'm just using the same brush for everything because this is where I'm at. But yeah, man, so I was just like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Like, when am I gonna have a situation like this? I want to move. My husband is cool with it. You know, we don't have any kids. The only people who have a problem with it are fur people, our fur babies, you know, and our parents. But, you know, they understood too that, you know, we have to do things for us. But yeah, like when does anyone have a situation like that where like everybody's on board? When? Some of them, you know. So I was like, we have to go for it. So yeah, we kept looking. In October, we flew out here, and we were like, hey, this is kind of cool to look at a few places and stuff. Mind you, we didn't even get to see the place. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. We didn't even get to see the places. There was no one available to see the places. I tried to make appointments beforehand, and I was like, we can just go. It didn't work out. And that's when I knew it was real, because it didn't deter me. And I am like, let everything be perfect kind of person. So maybe this does oxidize. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm like, I need things in order. I need things perfect. And that shit was just not, it was not happening. It was not happening. And I was like, oh. Something says not to be deterred. And so that's the thing of me. Like, I deal with anxiety, all that shit, but when something says keep going, like my intuition, I believe in that above anything else. Above anything else. Intuition always feels like water. And so, you know, I was like, wait a minute. Something is saying to keep going, and that everything is working out. And so listen, like, that's all I need to hear. I don't play with my intuition. You don't have to tell me a million times. Well, you know what, let me not lie, I'm human. I be fucking up. But big shit, I don't play with my intuition. You know better than me, so I'm gonna listen. And that's exactly what I did. And we came home and we were like, we didn't even see much, but we were like, the vibe is good enough. The vibe is good. So, shit, let's go for it. We come home, we tell our folks, they're not super pleased, but they're like, listen, we hear you. I interviewed a new place. I found a new place to apply to. They get back to me. I interview. And the first person I interviewed with, who ultimately ends up my boss, is like just cool. You ever just like see someone and you're like, it's a breath of fresh air? That's how I felt. And I was like, oh wow, this is different. Then I interviewed with another executive, and I'm like, oh, y'all are cool too. This is different. Like really cool. Like I want to go to dinner with you cool, you know, not like I can tolerate you. And so I'm thinking there's another round, but they call me that day and they're like, hey, you want it? And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. And then that was it. That's how we do it. And it was crazy because, like, seriously, we didn't have a place yet, nothing. But, you know, things work out because, like, in a couple weeks after, I am going to just keep messing with this until it is off my face. Let's see if I can catch it with my brush. Oh, I did. Look at that. Like a couple weeks later, I found a place. It was available, and it just started working out. But like, let me tell you, I hate when people do videos like this, and they're like, everything just worked out, and it was so great. It ended up being great. That shit was scary, and it was hard, and stressful, but there was a rainbow at the end, and that's what made it great. So yeah, so shit. Like I'm in the fucking West Coast. Yeah, this has to be oxidating, right? I'm not tripping. Anywho, or if you're still with me now, listen, you're fantastic. So yeah, leaving Westchester, New York, and driving to California. That shit. Out of pocket. You're never gonna be prepared to move. You're always gonna fucking forget something, no matter how organized you are. And I learned that the hard way, and it was so stressful. So stressful. But you know, like, what are you gonna do? Like, listen, we left shit. We forgot stuff. I was so tired. I couldn't remember anything anymore. And it was crazy. So then we drove from New York, and our first stop was South Carolina. And there was supposed to be a big storm, but oh my goodness, we lucked out. We lucked out because there was no big storm. Matter of fact, it was like 60 degrees. And from there, we went to Atlanta. From there, we went to Atlanta. From Atlanta, we went to New Orleans. From New Orleans, we went to Austin, Texas. We were trying to avoid any potential for storms, if you're wondering about this route. From Austin, Texas, we went to Abilene, Texas. From Abilene, Texas, we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. From Albuquerque, New Mexico, we went to Phoenix, Arizona. And then we arrived in San Diego. My very, very happy new home to be in. I'm even trying that stuff too. Because can I tell you, I'm always leery about saying where I am at all times, and that's because of many years with stalkers and stuff. But I'm not letting folks have my fucking power anymore. You know, I'm not. So it's not to like. I hope you never think it's like to feel special or important. There's reasons for my madness and how I speak and how I move, unfortunately. But I'm not letting folks have my power anymore. Because even that part, let's talk about the fucking pandemic. Like, in a pandemic where people are fucking dying, like I was being stalked and shit online. Like, fuck. You know, and it sucks. It really sucks. I forgot something, so give me just 1 second. Yeah, you know, and kept asking the person, leave me alone, all that shit, and they would not. And it sucks, you know, because it makes you feel unsafe. It makes you feel, I'm not going to say you, me. It made me feel unsafe. It made me feel angry. And not unsafe, it's weird, because not even unsafe in a way that was like someone's going to harm me. Not that that's not a possibility. But it was much more like, you're invading my peace. I'm trying to I keep bringing it up. I'm already introverted. I'm already you know, funny about who I speak to and what I do. And here you are bringing bullshit into my life. And it took, what, 3 or 4 different blocks on different places to be left alone. And let's knock on wood and hope it stays that way. But yeah, so it was just like, it gave me a lot of time to like reflect, like, what do I want to be doing? And I'm not even going to give much light to that. That's the end of that. But my point is, like, that's not how I want to be spending my life. So let's look at how I want to be spending my life. And let's get there with that. See what I'm saying about that? You see how it went from like ashy to it's not ashy anymore? And I was like, all right, okay, I can get with this. I wouldn't wear it by itself, but I can get with this. Yeah, like, how the fuck do I want to live my life? You know, people will infringe upon your life and do whatever. How do I want to live my life? First thing I want to do is not have my nose, so it feels done for me, so I'm phase that out. There we go. And then we'll start again. Yeah, that's what I want. I don't, you know, to each their own, but like, I don't like it too harsh. There we go. Is that better? Maybe it made no difference. I don't know. But yeah, man. Like, how do I want to live my life? I want to live my life honoring my gifts, even the gifts that I didn't of value. You know, because sometimes, like, I never intended to work in corporate. And so, because I never intended it, I never, like, respected what I could do there. And that's unfortunate, you know, because it's still a skill. And a lot of the skills that I use there, I've used for, like, my creative things. So, it still counts. It's just, I always wanted to feel legitimate, this legitimate artist, and you're waiting for someone to fucking validate you, and it's just, it's the worst. You're never going to be happy that way, ever, you know, and you gotta get honest about that. You're never going to be happy waiting for someone to validate you, because you know what everyone loves to do? Not that. Not validate you. That's a fucking pastime for folks. If they can chip away at you, they will. And so, it's got to be about what you feel good with. What you feel good about. And I'm still working through that. I'm working through perfectionism. Because, like, I survive by my ability to get as close to perfect as possible, you know. And now, like, I may not need that shit, or maybe I don't want to do that shit anymore, and that's crazy. It's crazy, you know. Like, now who am I if that's the case? Who am I if that's the case? If I don't need that shit anymore, who the fuck am I? And that's where I'm at right now, just kind of like learning that, and, you know, trying to make sense of that. Because you know what? I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. It's just, I never felt safe being that vulnerable to mess up, you know? I've never felt that. I've never felt like I've been given that space. Because sometimes when people think you're strong on an area, they think you're strong everywhere. And the expectations on you, like, never lower. So, it was easier. And then also, again, I'm going to bring it up, like, introversion, needing to keep to myself, needing to focus on the things that felt important to me. If I could get really close to being perfect, then people will leave me alone, and then I can go back to the things that I value most. And there's no way to sustain that. And I had to learn the hard way. Like, health-wise, I had to learn the hard way and I'm still learning, you know, but I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still living. I'm doing more than surviving, so I won't say surviving. But I'm here, you know, and I'm grateful. And yo, I made this shit happen. I like believed that I could do something different. This may not be a big deal to someone else, but like it was a big deal for me to just get up one morning and say, hey, it's time to leave. Let me stop talking about it. Let me start being about it. It's time to leave. And now, you know, I can have the confidence that I can do that again in other parts of my life. And I'm proud of that. Oh, where's my setting spray? Hold for one moment. I'm back. Like I said, I'm still getting back into the swing of things. I don't even know how often these videos will happen. I would love to have, I've always wanted to be able to have this consistent way of doing things, but I don't know if that's so yet. I'm still getting back into the swing of things, and I'm allowing myself to figure out my real pace. I've talked about that before, but you know, as much as you talk about it, life starts, and then you don't be about it, you know. And I want to be about my shit. I don't want to just be a talker anymore, you know. I really want to be about the things I say, you know. Even that, like little things like trying to keep up. Like sometimes you're gonna see me put on lashes, but because I always want to learn how to do things. I don't fucking like lashes. I'm thinking actually of getting some extensions. Cause like, I don't know, I don't have enough eye. I have semi-hooded eyes, and I don't have enough eye. I haven't found a pair where I feel like I have enough eye where it feels worth it. But you're like, everyone's doing that. And I'm like, yo, no more of that shit. No more. Everyone's doing that. It's fun to try. It's fun to have fun. But when it starts to feel like a trap, that shit has to go. And that's how I feel about everything right now. I want to live. I want to be happy. I want to be connected to nature. I want to create, you know. And like, that's all of it. I want to be well and happy and abundant and prosperous. And this is like the start. I'm choosing myself. I'm sharing. I'm trying to share and not be afraid. You know, I'm used to being afraid and having that, like, you know, it's interesting talking about like fight or flight. I'm a fight. So I'm afraid, and yet I'm like, okay, well, like, fuck it, let's fucking do this. But that's not how I want to approach stuff anymore. I want to have joy. I don't want to be afraid of anything. You know, that's what I want. So yes, your girl's in San Diego. Your girl's got a new job. Your girl's happy. Your girl's looking to be more creative, continue to do creative things. And I hope that you join me on this journey. I plan to continue to talk about like wellness and music and creativity and makeup and whatever's going on in the world and all that shit. And I'm gonna try to either put some pictures from my travel here into this video, and if I can't do that because I'm not tech savvy, I'll just leave a link where you can like check out pictures if you want to do that. And other than that, I want you to stay blessed. I wish you so much joy and love in the world, and I hope to see you sooner than later. One love.